All right. And just like that, we are back. How's it going? As always, Nate Mumford, Director of Sales Engineering here at RCS, joined by the John Bonou, our GSelector Product Manager. How's it going, John?
Hey, Nate. It's been a long time, right?
I know, right? I love having you on here.
Yeah, like those like lives were good.
Let's dive right into it. I know we have a lot to talk about in the brand new GSelector 5.1.2, which is in beta right now as we speak. As always, getting some housekeeping out of the way as well. Aside from me, going to be in Kansas City next week. We got a lot of great events coming up, recapping from NAB New York, and we're already prepping for NAB next year as well. As always, we have our chat open. Any questions for us? You can go in here and jump in. As well as, let's see here. Where is my archive? They keep moving things on me on this software. There we go. rcsworks.com/rcs-live. That's our archive. And when we're done, I want to highlight some of the past videos you and I have done on our RCS Live archive because there's some great concepts. And one of the great things I love doing is poking John because, you know, coming from Europe, he's got a totally different perspective on music scheduling. And I've stolen a lot of his ideas and kind of applied it here in the States. So it's always great having you on, John. So I know we have a lot to cover, so I want to dive right into it. As I mentioned, too, we're live on, let's see, LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Any questions, we're here for you. I got the chat open as well. Let's just dive right into it and talk about GSelector 5.1.2 in beta right now. And let's start with the metadata importer.
Oh, my God. You went right in. Like, you can't wait.
I go right to the deep end.
First of all, let me say that 5.1.2, GSelector 5.1.2 has been a huge effort. It's a huge project, and not because of the things people can do, but also we've done a lot of backend work. So trust me, it's been, for all of us, a very big project, and we are very proud about this version. Yes, and the thing we are most proud about, it's the metadata importer. Otherwise, people with Z actually, maybe they're familiar a little bit with the concept, like how you do mass import. So I'm going to jump right into it. Like if I go interface, import, you're going to see a brand new option here called metadata import. Still, I have to choose if I'm talking about songs or links. And of course, I have the option to import the global database. Like I can import songs for my whole like 200 stations, whatever I have on my database. Or I can go ahead and say that whatever I do right now, go for it only for the current station. I have the option to import an Excel file directly, or I'm able to create a brand new spreadsheet. So for the fun, I'm gonna import a broken Excel sheet here. So I have an Excel sheet here on my files. I import it. I press the import button, and immediately I'm gonna be navigated on a brand new pop-up here, a brand new window that looks familiar. It looks like the Zeta metadata importer, but also looks like an Excel sheet.
Yes.
So here I'm able to define each column that it was included on the Excel file, what it does. And as you can see, everything's wrong here. Like I have on my Excel, I had my media ID, I had my title and the artist. I don't need the rest of the field. We decided to make the UI friendly, to make it like very much familiar. Like the regular GSelector. So I can just go rearrange everything. I just go modify columns the same way I do it in my library browse. And for my example here, I'm going to get rid of everything. I'll keep only my title, my artist, and I'm going to insert the media ID, and I'm going to make it first. So just like that, poop. Now everything looks correct, right?
And let's take a second here, John. I realized I don't think we teased this up enough how really cool this feature is going to be. So I've been talking to a lot of users for years about this. So this is essentially a way of taking an Excel document or other different types of documents, mostly Excel, and take an Excel document and essentially saying, here's the columns, here's the metadata. I want to update my GSelector database based
Exactly.
on these columns. So what we're doing here is when John was talking about how I had a test system, test environment, or test spreadsheet, and I'm essentially importing this in the incorrect manner. What we're doing here is from a use case example is we're essentially saying, I need to import this, right, for whatever it could be. So in this example, in the Excel spreadsheet, we had media ID, title, and artist.
That's all.
Yep, that's all we had for this. We want to change, right, for this example. And so what we're doing here is we're essentially establishing from the very beginning a way to build a template that we can save a browse format so that,
Exactly.
yep, moving forward, we're going to go essentially have this save default view here so that if I ever wanted to go into a mass change from an Excel spreadsheet for research scores, for our S3 users, we'll talk about in a second, I can quickly go in here and just boom, over the information based on Excel.
Correct.
So,
And I can save like the template. Let's say this is a template I'm going to use very often. I can just go ahead and say that, hey, this is John's import template. And I can save this template and use it every time I want. Or I can have a template that I use it just to match something, because something I wanted to say in the beginning, we give the option to the user to match on media ID, GUID, title, or song artist, like artist title. And of course, it's very powerful. We give you the option to say, hey, whatever I have here, if you match, ignore it. Or I can tell you that don't create new asset and just update attributes in this case. And Nate, what is more powerful here? Yes, we got the first question. I was about
yep,
to say
does it
yes.
work with grids as well?
The worst question as well. What is more powerful here? It's, for example, I want to import sound code, okay? And I have many sound codes. I can go and specify and delimiter, meaning what character I'm gonna use to import multiple
Yes.
assets. Like I want to say like this is pop plus rock plus R&B plus dance. Wow, this is
Plus
actually an
is the
awful song.
delimiter.
Yeah. So I can just go ahead and say, you know what, I'm going to use this delimiter on my Excel sheet to recognize and split all the attributes. Same like with vocalist or
Vocalists?
anything
Same
else.
thing.
Like,
I love it. I love it.
so it works actually in the same way as the library browser at this point. And it's a very, very powerful tool. The moment I hit save, it will start importing. And because we
They do
have
it now for time
the
purposes, yeah.
default thresholds here, it's going to ask you actually immediately, hey, you want to take a backup? Because
Yes,
because
you
you're
always want
about
to take a backup.
correct. There is and the best thing what I really like is like, let's say, okay, I imported those files here, but you know what, I need more. Like I need more lines. You can just go ahead, I'm sorry, I pressed the wrong button here. You can go ahead and actually add more rows. I can say,
Oh,
give me
wow.
like 1, 10, 20, give me more rows because I need to add more data. So this is the powerful thing about the metadata importer. Like I can actually start typing. I can John's title, John's
Wow.
artist. So
So in go ahead.
I can keep going. Or I can even I can have a look what I'm about to import, and I say, you know what, this song is called Beautiful Days, not Beautiful
Yeah.
Day. I can even go and correct any data I don't like on the importer.
So like ballast, for example, what you can do here is if you're, let's say, doing some tweaking, you can do it in Excel and save it, or you can do it directly in here as well. And now the beauty of when we say Excel, right, that could simply be CSVs or whatever it is,
Mhm.
as long as we get it in there. But the idea is that as long as we have an order and columns of the information and they're consistent, right? We don't want to have like
Yeah,
column 2 is media ID for one song and then it's the title for the next. That's not going to work. But once we get this nice clean copy, we can go ahead and just really start to mass import a lot of metadata.
correct.
And then Meek had a question here too, and he's on the same exact wavelength. So import mode, how about refreshing existing carts? Absolutely, because we have the media ID on here, right?
Yeah, you can match on anything. You just can go match, and again, you can say that, you know what, whatever I have here, I only want to update existing assets. Meaning, if we can't match, we are not going to import. If we can't match, we go ahead and update all data that need to be updated. And something like which is amazing, if the column doesn't exist, it doesn't touch your data. For example, you can keep only mandatory. You can like have only media ID and let's say sound code, nothing else. We're going to update only the sound code in this
Yeah.
case. We're not going to wipe any data. We're only going to update whatever it's there. It's physical there in the columns.
So, ooh, Micah's got. I can tell Micah's loving this. So, can we validate the artist column against existing artists in the database to get them correct?
No, we don't have this option right now.
So, but I will say though, is you can fix those, right? So you can export it in
Of
an
course.
Excel spreadsheet, fix it, and then use that as your validation. So validate, as you will put in quotes, we can essentially fix it on a mass importer tool. We can definitely do that. And remember, you can always export from GSelector to Excel,
Of
do
course.
your work offline to fix the metadata, then use that media ID to match and just put it back in the system.
Exactly. And I see a lot of use case here. There are people using the user-defined fields to upload station-specific
Mm,
data, like scores from streaming or some other nodes that update occasionally. You can now use the metadata importer to update all this information. Like you really, even like research scores, this can be
yes.
done as well. You can import whatever you want. It's a very powerful tool, Nate.
Very powerful. So one of the things that when I had this in mind was to do for our S3 users. So when you have a publisher, format captains, the idea is that we have one, master publisher database. We have a limited number of subscribers via S3. They're receiving the logs. A lot of those subscribers sometimes have a lot of permissions to override at the local level, but they need to know those scheduling attributes. What is a new music? What is a power song? So on and so forth. And so what I was saying is using this tool, we can do is as a publisher, we have a spreadsheet of that week's changes or the new songs that are added. We send out the logs or whatever it is. We then go into the metadata importer tool. You send that spreadsheet out to all of your subscribers. We have for each subscriber a pre-saved browse format. So everything's in the exact column every
Yep.
single time. And then what you do is when you send out that week's worth of logs every Tuesday, after you send the logs out and all the assets are created, you send a spreadsheet out with the week's changes. The end user goes into their local metadata import GSelector, uploads that metadata. Now you have the current metadata
Correct.
for that log that you got from your format captain.
Correct. Or even no, like trust me, like it updates everything. I know people using user-defined fields for links, for example, to update like
Mhm.
stuff that they use them as comments while scheduling. Yeah, you can update everything. Every single field in GSelector can be
Yeah.
updated.
This is just a huge, huge feature, and I absolutely love it. I know we have a lot more to get to over here. I just want to do one last question here from another John. The same artist, about 10 of them, must be written on each line.
Correct. Yes. That's something you need to do. Like if you import 10 songs of Pink Floyd, you need to go and add Pink Floyd, Pink Floyd, Pink Floyd.
Yes.
It's like the importer. Let's say it's blind. The moment you add data, we don't interfere with your library. We don't do autofill. We don't match with vocalist just
Mhm.
because we need to support also the option to create new ones. That's why we don't interfere. We just see it like a blind metadata importer and we just import or match whatever you're there. Don't forget, if you do, let's say, a mistake, because people say, oh, what if I did a mistake on the artist? You can say that, and if you're about just to update something, you don't have to check the allow creation. That means if the artist doesn't exist, he's not going to create the artist.
That happens.
I mean, yeah, the idea behind it is that give the user the option to actually manipulate the data the way they want. So that's why we didn't give or do any matching, any possibility to do any matching, like any suggestions on the
Yeah.
importer page.
And here in the States, too, we have a lot of programmers who work on Excel intertwined with their GSelector. And
Correct.
now when you think about it, that's one, right? That
Yeah.
metadata field. So, and by the key thing here that one, and I want to give a lot of props to John and his team, by the way. So this, if you'll notice, there's all these little subtle things like adding extra rows, as well as making sure that the browse format is part of this experience, because by doing those little tweaks,
It's like having
it makes
presets.
things
Yeah.
it's so easy because now it's just there. You do a stock once and it's saved. So if you get your research scores, whatever it is, now you just go and grab that spreadsheet. You have the same export, fill the information out, copy and paste, do a VLOOKUP if you wanted to. Then go back in here, pick the John's research columns, save it, import it, match it, and you're all good to go.
Yep.
And then,
Correct.
of course, Mika's another example here. I half read this here. Our use case: export 56,000 songs on a spreadsheet, convert for analysis, edit mainly Excel, import back the data for cart deletion housekeeping. Yes,
Yep, that's correct.
exactly, Mika. You're piecing it together. Awesome. Listen, as I said, we can talk about forever on this, but let's jump to John. You want to jump to the library features and go from there?
Yeah, let's go some a little bit quick overview of the library. Long time request for multi-station people, like they have multiple stations, and they're like, we have the bad habit importing the same song on each station by accidents. So now, if you go to modify columns, we introduced a brand new field, which called where is my favorite here? Come on, I just have it. Yeah, we have a brand. It's on the top of the list. I'm sorry, I'm not
Yeah.
used to it yet. It's
Yours
called
is scrolling down. Me too.
it's called active stations. So by adding actually this field on your browse, you can immediately see on which of your stations this specific song is being active. And trust me, this field, you can have it in the editor, you can have it in the interface export, you can have it anywhere you want. So you can have like a clear picture of your global database, not
Mhm.
only on the station level.
Place
Something
and category.
Yeah, something also cool we introduced. It's another field we introduced in the place and category. Back in the day, you had to go individually on each song and see the history of the song. Yeah, like you have to double click on the song and go check on the history, like how many plays it had. No,
Mhm.
now we give you the option to have this right here in place and category. Something also we include in library, which not exactly library, we change a little bit the way packets are created to make your
Mhm.
life easier. Because I've been there as a program director, my biggest nightmare is creating packets, Nate.
Wait, 1 second. Just show that X drop down, by the way, too. One last other feature over here in the
Oh
library.
yeah, I
Yeah, yeah.
forgot.
You're
Something
good. We have
also
an option now
important.
too as a drop down to delete, so you can select which ones you want to delete if you have multiple
Yeah, now we
saved
give you
formats.
that. Now we give you the option to delete browse list and filters because this was like painful doing
Yeah,
only
especially
one
if
at
you have
a
a lot of
time.
them.
Yeah, and I forgot to talk about like browse list. Like
In the comments. Yep.
I don't know how many of you guys use browse list, but now we give you the option just to create a browse list, and we give you the option to go right click and you can insert comment. Because most of the times browse list is for prints or it's because we need to add some comments. You can just go ahead and say this song should play first, like
Mhm.
or whatever.
Yep.
And this is how you just go. You see on the left side, I
Yep.
have like a comment. So when I go review the browse list, I can remember
This is yeah,
that this is like for a specific reason is there.
absolutely.
Um, let me
Packets.
go. Let me go to my favorite part, which is packets. Nightmare. I create a packet. Packet needs a short name and a name. Like, and all the time I had to create the name. And usually we programmers in the bigger stations, like when we deal with more stations, we had to think that like I need to introduce the station name. Like this packet was created on the hot AC station. Very simple. If I go on my setup, if I go on packets, I have brand new screen settings. And now we give you the option to create an automatic, first of all, short name. And then we
Mhm.
give you the option to create a prefix for your packet.
Mhm.
And one more option, it will give you, because I know CHR stations. I'll give the biggest example. I have a power intro song, and the song itself, it's always a packet. So it's two songs always.
Yes.
But when my song is not on the A category anymore, it drops the A's. I don't want to play the power intro anymore. That means I don't need the packet anymore. I want to kill the packet.
Yep.
And this is
There you go.
where my VM disconnects and will connect back.
So there you go.
Um, yeah. So let me go really quick what we've done here. I'll take as an example here the 7 years song. Let's say I want to add this song to a packet. I hit my plus, and as you can see, automatically it created the short name. That means it's the P1. It will go to P999 because my prefix was the P, the letter P,
Mhm. Yep.
and will create automatically. And my name, it automatically inserted that this is the hot AC packet, and then I can just go and type 7 years, for example,
Mhm.
like whatever I want. And let's add to the packet. Like, okay, I go select it. Packet is the 7 years. Amazing. It's added on the packet. Okay. What happens if I got sick? If it doesn't play on the A song anymore, I just go to the B's. Poop. Packet is gone.
See that?
So the
Power intro packeting,
yep.
live music, it gets moved to a hold category.
Exactly. The packet is gone because this was a very long request and painful practice that you had to remember to remove the packets. And or even worse, you had to name the packets. And
Mhm.
again, we give you different settings based on the songs, the links, and the notes.
That's awesome. All right.
And the
Good.
last thing that I really want to talk about, because I know we have some hot AC and AC stations doing goal scheduling, not rule scheduling.
Mhm.
um it was always the case, Nate, that okay, from day one GSelector shows the demands is a calculation based on the songs you have in a category and how many times the category has been requested inside the clock.
Mhm.
But there was a big question: what happens if some of my songs are expired? What happens if the songs have run dates? Like,
Mhm.
my songs expire tomorrow, the demands would stay the same because the
Yeah.
demands didn't take this in account. For my quick example here, Nate, I'm just gonna show really quick that because I'm a known person, controversial person. I don't want to use any other word. Um, I decide to expire half of my library. Like,
Mhm.
half of my songs expire. That means they cannot play anymore. They can't schedule
Yep.
run dates. They kill on the 7th of November. So you can see now I have a brand new tab on the demand date, and I can go check and preview my demand. Let's say, hey, show me how my library is gonna look like Monday. And as you
Yeah.
can see in this case, demands change instantly. That means I can make better adjustments and I can have a bigger picture. And you ask me, what is the real world use? Bigger example, Christmas format. I decide that
Yeah.
suddenly I start playing Christmas songs, but those songs, they're not going to be active until 1 month from now. If
Mhm.
I have set my run dates correctly, I can go on my demand date for, let's say, 1st of December, and
Yeah.
I can preview how my songs are going to rotate.
Or for example, let's say you have a goal-based station like a AAA, and you know that based on you as a programmer, every month you swap out songs, or there's an
Yeah,
audit or something like that, and you know that you're doing some of that auto platooning on the first of the month, and it's like the 28th. Well, now you can see exactly, because again, what we're doing here is the snapshot of your library right now. That is the second
correct,
snapshot.
correct.
But if you make some changes going to happen in between that schedule, I can go and say, well, show me from the first of the month on forward to see what that demand looks like.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. And talking about demand, about future calculation, something that really bothered me in the future, especially when it was time to switch to the Christmas format, it was like I had to go ahead and every time remove my recycling. I had to go remove my recycling settings and I had to put them back.
Yeah.
Painful, because
Yeah.
when recycle is active, it's active. Like, it's the end of the story. Now, for everyone's relief, now we give you the option to create a recycling case here, and you
Hmm.
can activate or deactivate. Like, for this example here, I don't even know what kind of recycle I'm creating, but I can just go ahead and just say, you know what, this recycling is inactive, but for this week, I'm doing something different. So please
Yeah.
go and deactivate the recycling, and I'm gonna use it in the future. Also, it's really good way to archive your recycling settings.
Yeah. And by the way, great question here from Mark. Going back to that on demand. So if he makes an adjustment with the demand date set, is he scheduling that adjustment for that date or the current date?
You're scheduling the current date. It's just a preview of the future. You see
Yeah.
the future. It's help you doing the calculations. It's a view.
Gotcha.
So you don't set the shifts and limits and everything for the future. You just try to preview the
Yeah.
future and make your settings based on the future.
Yeah. The shift, if you make a shift, so if you're looking, let's say a month from now, and you adjust the shift, you're making that shift adjustment today.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. You're just viewing the turnovers from the
Correct.
upcoming month.
And something
Good question.
important, you can see the same settings, the same demand settings. You can see it also in the song card. You can go on this, yeah, you can go
Ooh.
directly on a song and preview. You know what's gonna happen if I kill this song.
Yeah.
What happens if I kill this song on the 7th? I hit say you can preview how the song is gonna behave in the future.
Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah,
Okay, so do a slight review here. Get last minute questions in for John. We talked with the metadata importer, a huge tool to allow you to essentially import and edit assets from an Excel spreadsheet. And when you think about how that workflow, operates, the world's your oyster. It really is.
yeah,
In the browse list, drag and dropping with looking at inactive songs in the advanced search, the ability to add comments in a browse list. In the library, we now have multiple active stations, plays and categories, the delete drop down. We didn't get a chance to talk about the album art and that we can now use URLs for album art. Talk about the packet settings. We talked about essentially the goals there. Let's see here. The filter. Oh, we didn't talk. There's a nice new filter now in the priority list drop down.
Yep.
The rotation rules. So you can essentially say,
Actually,
only show me these based on a particular priority list. And
we
we
can
talk
do this
about
really
these.
fast, Nate. Like it's here. Like you can now go and previews, check like priority list based rules. Like before it was like category, day part, attribute, and now we can say, okay, show me whatever only stuff that they're assigned on the A priority list, on the B priority list, or the C priority list. So I can just go edit attributes that they're
Super
assigned.
awesome help because when you know that F8 copy and all that stuff, that really helps out when you're working inside that
Yeah.
window. We don't have to show it, but in the editor, there's now a right click. You can delete all plays of an asset for today, but just quickly show them the related link and the multiple values and the related links. And while you're loading that up, again, in the editor, you can now right click on an asset and do delete all plays of that asset today. And then
Correct.
there's also brand new read-only user configurations as well. So if you're an administrator and you want to have more read-only access, we can help you with there too.
Let's show really quick what you said about the flying
Yeah.
links. Very quick. That's going to be very quick. For people that are familiar with the flying links, now we give you the option to match on the multi-value. Before it was one-to-one relationship. Now we give you the option to say, okay, if the song is the 7 years, or the Am I Wrong, or the Budapest, or the Black Magic, or the Between the Raindrops, if it's one of those songs, match it with a specific link. And
Yeah.
you can do this with any kind of attribute. That means the matching, before we used to create like 30, 40 different matchings. Now you can do one matching, like 30, 40 different attributes for one matching.
Yeah. And by the way, just going back, because Mika had a great point, but I want to reinforce that. So he mentioned the metadata importer is now the official research data import. Not necessarily. So we have a direct import with media monitors, media base, test all media, critical mass media. That's already in there. If you have a current importing research workflow you like, you can still do it. But this metadata importer tool, in my humble opinion, offers a much quicker, because you probably get that spreadsheet of research from outside of media-based media monitors and test all media. So that can be whatever your call out scores or all that stuff. And the idea is that by having multiple saved browsed formats, you can actually get, if you got a call out, quarterly research, format research, they have their own individual Excel spreadsheets. You can just match that across the board if you wanted to.
Correct. And can I give a small cheese for Z integrate
Yes.
users? For Z
Please
integration
do.
user, there are a lot of stuff in the back end of the software. The way you play the audio, the way you listen to the audio, like coming from your Z integrated system, or even the calculation of the pitch, each now shows up on the editor. Yeah, there are more features.
Ooh.
I'm sure we can make another live show, Nate, and we can
Yes.
get more into those features. But we also have done a lot of stuff for the Z integrated, and for people like talking about like techs, like the IT of your station, a huge upgrade on components of GSelector. Performance also, it's much better. So trust me, 512, I would say it's one of the biggest projects we've done so far, and the whole team of GSelector is very proud of it.
Very excited. Yeah. And it's in beta right now, right? When's the rough release? We're looking at when again?
We're looking like before holiday season, before
Yep.
before Christmas. So we're looking somewhere around there for the general release.
Perfect. And I'll leave you these two things too, by the way. We talk about, John mentioned the Zeta Live integration. We've done a lot of back-end stuff. So when you hear things like, RCS live integration between Zeta and GSelector and other RCS cloud products as well, one of the beauties about RCS is that all of our products are live integrated. And we say that, we mean a very robust live integrated. And one of the things we're talking about, they're not just references. Which John mentioned, things like the pitch. When you do something in Zeta, that reflects over in GSelector and vice versa. And they work as one when you have both the GSelector and Zeta system. So when I create an asset in Zeta, it's already in GSelector, and then I can apply scheduling attributes either in Zeta or GSelector. It's such a robust
Yeah.
live, efficient experience that I really want to harp on that.
Even
Um,
even even think
oh,
about that nowadays. When you have Zeta integrated system, when you play an audio in GSelector, it's streaming actually from Zeta. You don't need to give your GSelector users the access to your audio folder.
yeah.
GSelector is streaming audio directly from Zeta. No need to give access to MP3 files, WAV files, whatever. Just straight ahead. It's the same way our to-go products work at this point.
Yeah. And I'm going to steal Mark as a transition here. Nate, John, and Mike all in the same stream. So check
Exactly.
this out. There are some great videos. I mentioned earlier the archive, rcsworks.com. I'm going to cheat and do this little bottom scroller thing down here. rcsworks.com/rcs-live. That's our archive video. If you go in there and search, there's some great videos. I have Scheduling with the Pros with John Bonou, and that is, I found it fascinating. If you're a programmer and you want to think outside your box, I don't know about you, but for me, my programming experience was always that's how it was taught. Like, this is how we do it. And then as I evolved, I'm like, oh, I never thought that was possible because that's how I was trained in Selector version 12. And so now, one of the things I love about our conversations is there's some conceptual stuff there. Like, one of the things that John talks about here in the States is we have kind of a one-to-one category group to category ratio. One of the videos we have in there, John talks about having essentially two category groups, primary, secondary, and then it's based on era or by your tone of your station. So primary is these primary songs, either by sound code or era, whatever it is, or research. And then secondary, the same thing repeated. So when he schedules his clocks, it's like, make sure that 65% of my hour using the content rule is going to be a primary song. And then it uses the in-between segue bands to achieve the end result. And it's just fascinating. So if you're a
Yeah.
programmer and you're curious about interesting techniques, you got to check out some of those RCS live videos with John. You can go in there and just search by John or whatever. Again, that's over at rcsworks.com/RCS-live. GSelector 5.12 is going to be out around Christmas time. Check out for more videos. We got some RCS cloud stuff coming on the pipeline, as well as some Zeta and other great videos with audio display. That's going to the pipeline. John, thank you so much. That was so great. Looking forward to chatting with you again very shortly.
Great to see you, Nate.